Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 3, Episode 12. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade. If you are back for a second or third time or a 12th time, we are still getting into it as we get into it, so welcome. You are not too late. Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. So when the episode first opens up, Marsau, after dropping the ball and dropping a bomb about him being depressed, he's cooking up some steaks, right? Martel hollering like he ain't seen Maurice all week. I'm like, boy, why are you acting like you have not seen this man? You just spent an entire weekend with him. But y'all know what I did notice? Honey, they ain't invite Chatty Cathy, okay? Lewis was not invited, honey, in there packing with his bride. Moving forward, Marsau feels like the trip has been a success and, you know, people got things off of their chest and whatnot, mainly him, and everyone is packing up to go back to Huntsville. So Kimmy comes in, right? So she's like, Tisha, I was surprised Marsau didn't do the thingy, you know, the vow renewal. Girl, you the only one that was surprised. It screamed Marsau. Girl, you know exactly what you're doing, child. Anyway, so she asked Tisha if it bothered her. Of course it did, Kimmy. Did you think she felt good about it? So she was like, well, you know, the past 3 years have been really rocky for us. So Tisha said, you know, I knew something was off, which is why I suggested therapy, because he just never really expresses things like that or verbalizes them. So Tisha gets teary-eyed and she starts expressing that she loves seeing families together. She loves seeing the mom, the dad, and the kids. That's what gets her battery going. Okay, that's what gets her mojo going. She loves it. And it bothers her when he doesn't take the family on trips, but she's like, but you know what? I'm just gonna have to just deal with it. That is sad. So Kimmy is like, you know, we marry these guys and then we have to like come to terms with some of that part. You know, that's like to serve and protect. You know, if they can't be there for us and the kids, then we have to be there for each other. Okay. Kimmy, this season you're acting off. Okay, I don't know what is happening with you, honey. There is no excuse for her taking every family trip alone with their kids. You make time for what you want to make time for. This is terrible advice. Okay, I don't know if you're tired. I don't know if you're, you know, being passive aggressive. Honey, I don't know what you got going on, but that was some foolishness, okay? They should be prioritized, and I ain't changing it. Marsau can carve out some time to spend with family and do what's important to his wife and his children. Girl, so she's like in her confessional, this is Kimmy. You know, we really just need to sit in this little pod, me and Tisha together, because when it comes to being married to a Scott, you know, we just have to sacrifice time and everything. So basically be their doormat. Girl, they are not the Rockefellers. Honey, they don't run the city of Alabama. They aren't these strong, powerful men that you have to sit idly by or else. Girl, goodbye. This is Marsau and Maurice Scott. They need to either piss or get off the pot. You do not have to settle with anything, even in marriage, okay? That's an antiquated way of thinking. Just let him go and do what he gonna do. I'm gonna stay home and tend the children. Kimmy, please. And that's the reason why he left you there with Kyle and her husband, and he sashayed on out with his hips and his tight suit on to wherever it is he had to go. Because you sit in this pod. Girl, goodbye. Moving forward, Perfect Patty and her surprise groom, they're talking about the trip, and she tells Lewis about Destiny pulling her to the side. She said, listen, my hope is that it's not really Destiny coming for me. So if she wants to leave the drama in Vegas, she can commit to putting in the effort to, you know, see if they can be better off. Girl, please stop saying that Destiny is coming for you, girl. Do you not remember that you started this? I just don't understand this. So you think you're allowed to just say whatever you want to say upon meeting someone on a day that's important to them, pull the rug from up under them, they go to the restroom upset, you say it's her party, she can cry if she wants to, but she's coming for you. Girl, goodbye. In the next scene, Tisha and Kimmy are saying, you know, look, we're just going to stick together. And I just want you to call me if you need anything, Tisha. We're going to leave this here. So what happens in Vegas definitely stays in Vegas. Honey, let me just explain something to you. Huntsville, Alabama meets Vegas. When people say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, that's you getting drunk and sleeping on the strip. That's you finding a random dude at the casino and getting it popping. That's you being a stripper for 24 hours. Shout out to the story time. I mean, that's really you getting into it as you get into it. And then you say to your people, listen, now I know what I did on this trip, but what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That's that whole, I kissed a girl and I liked it. And nobody's ever going to find out because it happened in Vegas. Girl, they ain't talking about no arguments y'all had between Scott 1.0 and Scott 2.0. Child, y'all can get so country sometime. Moving forward. Tisha said, look, it may have been weird for me and Marsau, but it was good for me and Kimmy. Well, honey, at least she came to check on you, although I didn't agree with that advice she gave. So the men are outside talking about the trip, and Martel reveals after hearing Marsau talking about depression, he feels that he may be depressed. Now, let me tell you something that I appreciated about the scene with the three guys. I appreciated that they were being vulnerable and vocal and expressing themselves to each other and actually listening and feeding off of each other. To see black men get together and talk like this is beautiful to me. If they weren't such chauvinistic, cheating scumbags, I might have been like, ooh, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. But honey, I can't do that with these three. But I did appreciate the fact that they were having open dialogue. I really appreciated that. So Marsau said, I'm not going to repeat what I did in the past year because I traded a lot of time for money. So then he gives this analogy about flying and says he needs to find a way to be comfortable flying because he was comfortable on the ground. Therapy. Okay, there's no way around it. Say it with me. Therapy. Moving forward. So then Maurice chimes in with his stresses, and he said it's one of those things with high achievers. He's seeing that the level of stress he faces is not normal, and he thought that it was normal. And let me just tell you this. You have to know when to take a break. And I struggle with that even with myself. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do this review today. I'm just going to wait a few days. But then the overachiever in me and the perfectionist in me is like, the show went off a day ago. Like, why would you wait 4 days to give them a review for a show that just went off? Like, it's just something in me. But, I also had to step back and say, listen, I don't want to be looking old and whatnot, honey. I still want to be popping. Okay, this is my last year of my 30s. I might meet somebody that knows somebody that's going to know somebody. Honey, I got to make sure that I'm good. Moisturized, edges is back like they never left. Honey, got rid of some dead weight, found all of you guys. So I got to make sure that I take care of me. Because in order for you to get the reviews that you love, honey, I got to make sure that I get some sleep at night. I got to make sure that I'm feeding and pouring into me. I got to make sure that I'm pouring into my son, making sure that he feels love. So I'm getting better at pacing myself for now, honey, but it could be better. Moving forward. Mel says, yeah, the trip for me was a disaster. Oh, Mel. She's like, although I appreciate the invite, I feel like, was it worth me disturbing my peace? Absolutely not. Girl, you disturbed some of your own peace, okay? You can't put that all on Martel. It's both of y'all. She said, there are no circumstances that I can ever be under the same roof with Martel for multiple days. Y'all thought it was going to be some other kind of way, and we're in for a rude awakening. Destiny, on the other hand, she was like, it was a good time and everything, and Tiffany still get on my nerves and whatnot, but yeah, we're going to see where it goes when we get back to Huntsville, but I'm ready to get home to my baby. I know that's right, honey. Go on, get back to law. Moving forward. Y'all know what? I hate the last few moments of a trip. I'm never ready to go home. I'm like, oh man. Then I start reminiscing on stuff that I did and thinking about stuff that I could have done. And honey, I just hate the end of a trip. Now, but if I was going with this cast, honey, I will most likely be ready to go. So in the next scene, everybody is back home and Mel is at her office and Tiffany, frumpy behind, she stops by and she's telling us about her merch and how God said go. And it's really helping some women out there. And she's selling out all over the place. Shout out to Robin on Real Housewives of Potomac and her bedazzled hats. Honey, once you get the merch out there, it's no stopping you. Mel, you better be about your merch, honey. I know that's right, girl. God said go. It's actually really a cute thing. It's actually something that a lot of people can relate to, because when it's time to move your feet, it's time to move your feet. No matter what season of your life you are in, sometimes God does tap you on the shoulder and say, go ahead and clock out for me. Honey, it'd be time to go. So I totally agree. So she said, yeah, Tiffany, I know that you reached out to me and you texted me and whatnot, and I didn't respond. And I know you were reaching out to me about the interns. So Tiffany is telling her that, they need to get the interviews done like ASAP. So she's like, and I want to apologize for not responding to your text. But, I just needed to recenter myself after that trip. What did I tell y'all? Transfers of energy. Didn't I tell y'all? All that fighting and fussing takes you 10 steps backwards. But y'all know what was tripping me out? Tiffany was talking to her about the interns, and Mel is going to find a way to start talking about the Mel and Martel drama. Child, I said, oh, honey, you can't even have a simple conversation with Mel. She gonna start talking about that mess they got going on, honey. So then she tells Tiffany she apologizes on behalf of Destiny for threatening to drag her. No, ma'am. We will not be apologizing on behalf of Destiny. Destiny did absolutely nothing wrong. So Mel was like, I was shocked she was saying she was going to drag you. She said, but I'm very sensitive to her because of her divorce. So she may be just lashing out at the wrong people. Like you did, Tisha. You know what? Mel gives me fake. Even that voice, it just gives me fake. Like when she was standing there and she was talking to Tiffany, and I was just, I couldn't believe it. When she said she was going to drag another female, I just couldn't believe it. I don't know. It's just fake. I just, child, but that's just me. So then Tiffany expresses that she could connect to Destiny because she's been there. But as a woman, we need to do some soul searching to come out better on the other side, because until you who are broken fixes your brokenness, then you're going to look for problems where there are none. Thank you, Maya Angelou. Now we know why the cage bird sings. Let's not get carried away, okay? There was a legit problem. She was not looking for problems. She didn't come for you and you didn't send for her and all that. Girl, get out of here, okay? You're crass. You lack tact and the ability to pick up on social cues. You're awkward AF, okay? And you and Mel will not turn this into a hurt people type of thing. Destiny had a valid reason to feel how she did. I said what I said and I ain't changing it. Moving forward. So Mel is like, well, she's calling me your new bestie, girl. I was like, oh, no, So here go Tiffany. There's enough mail to go around. Mel's like, yes, there's enough mail. Girl, pipe down. Moving forward. Martel takes MJ to do some baseball training, which is Martel Jr. And Martel is like, you gonna show up, MJ? Here he go. I'm always gonna show up. I said, oh, look at him. Okay, sweetie pie. I know that's right, honey. That was too cute to me. Let me tell you something. They got them kids right. If they ain't do nothing else. Now, the two of them, child, I could really take a leave. Honey, they did that. Them some cute little kids, well-spoken and just so polite. I love to see it. He starts pitching a little bit and hitting a few balls, and then the guys go over to talk about what happened with him and Mel. So Martel is telling Dr. Lewis, honey, because him and his wife act like they some type of therapist, child. So he goes over to tell Dr. Lewis that his kids knowing that song really pissed him off. So them kids knowing the song really affected you, but them kids not knowing their sibling, that doesn't affect you. Oh, okay. Anywho, so he's like, Lewis said, look, you got to stop being petty. Because on that trip, you were being petty. You can't control how she responds, but you can control you and how you respond. So Martel was like, yeah, you're right. Facts. Oh, shut up, Martel. Martel said, I hear you, but some things she says, they trigger me. So Lewis asks if he has considered anger management. Of course, Martel, honey, he doesn't have a problem. Lewis, what are you talking about? So Martel said, I think I handle my anger pretty well. Martel, honey, please do some self-reflection. Neither one of you handle yourselves well. I know you think so because y'all dress up nice and look real cute and whatnot, but the both of you need some classes, okay? So Lewis said Martel may think he's handling things well, but we all saw differently. Yes, we did. Honey, we saw them act a fool all up and through Vegas. Child. Moving forward. Martel starts telling Lewis that he's being told by the kids that they've been with the babysitter 4 or 5 days and, and then only with Mel like 2 days. So Lewis said, well, have you talked to her about it? He said, yeah, I talked to her and she said she busy. He said, I don't want the babysitter raising our kids and I'm thinking about asking for full custody. Spoken like a true narcissist. Let me tell you something. He don't want them kids. He just don't want Mel to have them. And I'm telling you from experience because my soon-to-be ex-husband is the same exact way as Martel. Has not done anything, has not provided anything financially, comes around every blue moon, throws him up in the air, takes an Instagram photo and disappears for another few months. Comes back and says, you know what, I'm thinking about, getting him full custody. Boy, what? Now, don't get me wrong. Martel is very involved with his kids' lives, honey. He even does lives on his way to taking them to school. So I'm not saying he's not involved in his children's life, but the fact that he wants full custody and really don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of is beyond me. Okay, you were peddling the Mary Kay products and I ain't gonna let you forget that. So until you take that test, you pass it, you get your builder's license, you start getting into it as you get into it, you do not need to be worried about the custody of the kids. The agreement and the arrangement right now is fine. So what it is that she has to do to make things work, because the two of you are no longer in the same household, is what she has to do to make things work. She has to work. She has to provide for them. There is no longer a 2-parent income household. It's just one. You the one decided to do what you did, and now she has to fend for everything and figure out everything alone. So of course, every now and again, somebody's going to have to step in to help her. Martel, get lost. So then he says, when he gets them, he won't be able to do as much as he wants to do, but at the end of the day, that's a sacrifice he's willing to make for his kids. Sacrifice by telling them about their new sibling. All these sacrifices, but couldn't sacrifice your lustful urges to keep your family together. Goodbye, Hotel Holt. Moving forward. And you just want some child support and you ain't fooling me. So he asked Lewis, he was like, so what's your thoughts on this? Here go Lewis. Well, what you think is best for the kids? Do you think this is best for the kids? Honey, and is it? So Lewis said, what do you think she's going to say? Honey, I think she's going to say, I think you're so uncool. I think you're acting a fool. Shout out to Melody. That's what she gonna say, child. But in all seriousness, y'all, she gonna eat him up, honey. Eat him up in that high-pitched voice. Do y'all hear me? So he's being petty, okay, because y'all cannot convince me otherwise. And this is my question to you, Martel. So who is going to watch them when you work? Oh, okay. Moving forward. So Martel said, she might say yes. She might say, go ahead and get them. Now, she is not going to tell you yes. So Lewis said, and she might say, hell no. Honey, and will. So Lewis advises him that he needs to be calm when he talks to Mel. Let me tell you something, Lewis. It's a lost cause, but child, I'm just happy you spoke to him. In the next scene, Kimmy and Maurice are having a double date with Tisha and Marsau. Kimmy said that Tisha asked her to reach out more, so she's making an effort and she invited them out to dinner. And Maurice said, plus, they need to follow up with what's going on with Marsau, especially since he said he was depressed. So when they come in to sit down, Kimmy looks at Tisha and she's like, you look just like Wanda. I didn't see it, but honey, I guess. So Marsau said, who? Tisha said, my mama. Marsau said, I hope there is never a day when I wake up ready for the world and I look over there and I can't imagine Wanda in my bed. Oh my God. When I tell y'all I hollered, namely because I couldn't see Marsau's teeth. And secondly, because he is always messing with Miss Wanda. Honey, it reminds me of Gina, Martin, and Pam. That's what it reminds me of. Child, Martin and Pam was always fussing and fighting, child, and I lived. Do y'all hear me? But listen to me. Miss Wanda, with the right team of stylists, she's beautiful. Do y'all remember when she got her very own confessional this season? She looked like a new woman. Honey, she was really getting into it, giving the zhuzh that should be given. So they started talking about why they're there and how it just hit them that Marsau is saying he's depressed. Kimmy was like, we were really shocked. He said, y'all were? Yes, really. So Tisha said, well, he never even told me that. Well, honey, that part ain't shocking. So Marsau said, well, I'm not going to do anything about it. Maurice said, what you mean you're not going to do nothing about it? Marsau said, it's a problem that's probably a phase. Maurice said, so it's stress. He said, I don't know. Maurice said, okay, so that's why you need a professional. Look, don't throw around things like depression and then just try to brush down past it, honey. It does not work like that. So they're trying to get to the bottom of it. Marsau said he may have diagnosed himself. Look, Marsau, quit playing on WebMD and get yourself a therapist, okay? Because this right here is not funny. So he brushes it off as his path to greatness because all of his projects, they add stress. He said after the projects, if he still feels this way, then he'll start looking into it a little bit more. What is looking into it a little bit more? You mean go to a therapist. So then Tisha tells him that she doesn't want to lose him, so just tell her what she needs to do. He said, you can listen. Baby, he really boils my blood when he speaks to her that way. And you know what my mama always telling me, that's why you're single. Well, honey, if I have to be single for the rest of my life to not get a man to disrespect, to not speak to me like I'm a peasant, shout out to Martel, then honey, that's what I will do. I will go to my grave by my lonesome because you will not speak to me in this way. She's just trying to be there for you, you little bonehead. So she said he feels like I don't listen to him when all I do is listen to him. Well, honey, we know that, Tisha. Now, that's something we can't debate you on. You gonna listen to Marsau and his harebrained ideas if you don't listen to nothing else. So she said, I usually push things over to the side, but this depression, that's a really big deal. Tisha was like, look, you need to talk to your spouse about that because me and the kids, we're gonna be affected by that. Kimmy was like, well, he needs a therapist. Tisha said, yeah, but he needs to talk to his spouse as well. Kimmy said, but sometimes it may be your spouse. Pause. I don't know who is Tisha's glam team for these confessionals, but they are keeping sis together. Do y'all hear me? Together. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Tisha is like, so you're blaming me for his depression? Now, Tisha, I don't think she was blaming you. I think she was saying, in the grand scheme of things, some people that are depressed, it could be their spouse that's actually causing the depression. I, for one, can vouch for that because my spouse was actually causing my depression. So I understand what she's saying. Y'all comment down below. Do y'all think that she was trying to throw shade at Tisha? Honey, because y'all know a hit dog will holler. Or do you think that she was just trying to give an example? I personally think she was just trying to give an example, but that's just me. She was like, I thought we were getting on the right track, and here we go again. Oh, Tisha, please don't start that, honey. Let's just focus on Marsau and getting him healthy mentally, child. So Marsau is making excuses for not getting help. He's like, I've been working 3 jobs since I was 14. This is what I do. So then Tisha pipes up, and she's like, yeah, but that's not healthy. Marsau, it's really not, because guess what? Once the dirt covers that pine box, the work is still going to be there. You know what? Let me just tell y'all something that my mom told me, and I don't know if this will help anyone, but I remember I used to rush to work. One thing about me is I don't like to be late. And after I had my son, I would have to make different concessions in order to make sure that he was taken care of so that I could work, because I had an overnight job as well. So I would rush all the time trying to get from point A to point B. And my mama told me one day, she said, listen, stop speeding. Stop being in such a hurry. Call and tell them you're going to be 5 or 10 minutes late. Because if you crash that car and you're dead, they're just going to hire someone else the next day. And baby, when I tell you after that, child, of course I was always on time anyway, because like I said, I hate to be late. But after she said that to me, I was like, you know what? Let me stop rushing, because this is some foolishness, child. Moving forward. Kimmy said, you know, as a clinician, you can't just throw out depression and breeze on past it. Honey, I said the same thing, Kimmy. She's like, so how long do you wait? Tisha said, who do you confide in? Is it, if it's not me, is it Maurice? Maurice was like, no, it's not me. Marsau said, y'all acting like, you know, I said I hurt my knee and I need surgery. Shut up, Marsau. Stop with all these dumb analogies. Depression is serious. People lose their lives every day due to depression. It's not as cavalier as you're making it. Okay, you made a statement, and the people that care about you are trying to figure out what the hell is going on with you. Now, it's really starting to upset me and my homegirls because you're acting like this is nothing. You don't use such big words if you don't know exactly what you're feeling. Like, this is crazy. So Tisha said, you know, that attitude is the reason that my aunt is no longer around. She found a lump. She was way too busy, still working, and it was cancer, and it spread, and she's no longer here. And she started to cry, and I felt so bad for her. I'm so sorry for you, Tisha. My condolences. And this month happens to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as well as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. You know, for anyone that suffered through that, or anyone that knows someone that has succumbed to breast cancer, my sincere condolences to you, all jokes aside from that. And I felt really bad for Tisha. I'm like, see, she is really trying to be vulnerable in this moment with this weirdo, but honey, he is not catching on. So then he tells them that he grew up poor. Maurice said, no, we grew up poor. Okay, I guess he forgot they were brothers. He said, and look, I want you to promise me something, that you'll go to therapy with me. Marsau said, nah, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Child, a mess. Moving forward. Mel and Martel meet up. Oh, child, it's time for the WWE SmackDown. Honey, I guess they're still on the same accord or whatnot, honey, the same wavelength, because coincidentally, they were dressed alike. Same colors and everything. I said, y'all too, honey. I think you're so uncool. I think y'all acting the fool. Child, y'all know I can't help it. Y'all know I can't help it. I'm going to sing that every single review. Do y'all hear me? So Martel tells her when she gets there, he's like, you want a drink? She's like, nah, I'm fasting. Honey, I know that's right, honey. Shake the devil off. Martel tells her that he wants to get to a better place. So she was like, so what are the triggers? Y'all, please don't start talking about triggers, honey, because last time y'all talked about that, y'all lost y'all minds. So then he said, you know, I was happy to see you in Vegas. She was like, oh, really? He was like, no, can I take that back? Can I take that back? Honey, I guess the Side Chick of the Year award is watching. So she's like, so why were men trying to hold you back? I mean, I thought that was crazy. He said, well, you know, we know how to push each other's buttons. She's like, no, I don't think so. Okay, now, Mel, honey, this is the one true thing that Martel has spoken. The both of you know how to push each other's buttons, not just him pushing yours. So they start going back and forth and back. And he said, look, let's just stop. Let's just talk about the kids. She said, well, what do you want? So then he starts to talk about the babysitters. He's like, yeah, you have 9, 10, 11 babysitters. She's like, no, I have 2. And he was like, no, you had 3. So then Mel starts running down the timeline. Martel picks up this phone and starts scrolling Instagram, because, child, you could not convince me that he had receipts in that phone. I'm like, not you trying to intimidate her with these fake receipts. Oh, Martel, honey, so predictable. Apparently, Martel is keeping track of everything she does. Martel, first of all, stop probing those kids for information. Let them be kids, okay? It's bad enough that their lives were turned upside down. Just trying to build a case, honey, ain't making no sense. I remember my soon-to-be ex-husband told me, yeah, I record every last one of our phone conversations. I said, oh, okay, so please present the judge with me saying, hold on, let me let you speak to your son. Please present the judge with, are you going to meet us X, Y, and Z at this time? And you saying, no, I'm not going to be able to make it. Please present the judge with that. Child, this man be so stupid. Child's just a fool. So Mel continues to give him the blow by blow, and she's getting upset because he's making it seem like she's a bad mother. She said if Martel wasn't the kind of man he was, then she would have no problem reaching out to him. But the reason why she doesn't is because he's going to use it against her later. And let me tell y'all something. I totally believe her because I have gone through this. Everything you say and do will be used against you in the court of law. Honey, you cannot trust a narcissistic, bitter man. Okay? Because when you finally get up on your feet and dust yourself off and put your good wig on, part just right, honey, skin glowing, then they're always going to do something to upset you. So, child, I believe Mel on that one, honey. Moving forward. Martel was like, no, I have the facts. She said, no, you don't have the facts. You know, she started, baby, the octaves are starting to go up. He said, 2 people will watch my kids for me, you know, for 2 or 3 hours tops, because I'm going to make the sacrifice. This is what he's saying in the confession. I'm thinking to myself, well, honey, that's the same as she's saying. She's saying people are watching the kids for 2 or 3 hours. 2 people. Child, goodbye. So she was like, you know what? File a petition. Child ain't gonna file nothing. You know he ain't got no money. Honey, that costs money. He said, it's clear that you don't put the children first. How is that clear? She's working to provide for them. She's not on a yacht hanging out and whatnot. Like, what are you talking about? He said, you know, well, since I get the girl's hair done, I was thinking, and she was like, well, I was getting a girl's hair done for a whole year. Mel is like, just do what the judge said. Baby, she gets up. He's like, well, you already said you was going to try to send me to jail. What about that? I'm like, oh my God, honey, this is a fool. So she gets up and chunks the deuces. Shout out to Chris Brown, and honey, she is out of there. So child, we are done with that. That was the end of the episode. But baby, did y'all see that mid-season trailer? Oh my gosh, honey, I cannot wait to get into the rest of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I thought I was gonna give me a little break, honey. I was like, okay, the season finale should be coming soon. But baby, that mid-season trailer was on fire. And I can't wait to get into it as I get into it. Child, y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Do you think Hotel Holt should have custody of the kids? Full custody? Oh no, ma'am. Do you feel like Marsau needs to go to therapy and quit playing in Tisha's face? Do you feel like Kimmy was trying to shade Tisha when she said that it could be the spouse? Now, I don't think she was, because I really genuinely think that Kimmy is trying to build a relationship with Tisha. Honey, maybe it was just what was going on at the event. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.